Hi friends, Allie here. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to crochet this Mother's Day pillow. This is an 18-inch by 18-inch pillow cover that features a heart in the corner and the words Mom, Mama, Mummy, and Mother, making it a great gift for Mom. We'll be using only single crochet stitches for this pillow and changing colors to create our design. This is an advanced beginner pattern, and in this video, I'll be showing you how to follow along with the graph, make color changes, and how to carry your yarn behind your work. I won't be going through every single row of the pattern because that would be a very long video, but we'll go through the first few rows together so that you understand how to make it. Then you can follow along with the written pattern or the graph, which both are available for free on my website, theturtletrunk.com. Or you can get the ad-free printable PDF from my Etsy shop or on Ravelry. I'll leave links to all of those down below. If you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For today's tutorial, you'll need medium 4-weight yarn in 3 colors. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. For color A, I'm going to be using white, and that's going to be the background of our front panel, the border, and then the whole back panel. So you're going to need about 532 yards of color A. For color B, I'm using a charcoal color. That's going to be for our words, and you're going to need about 68 yards. And then color C is the heart. You're going to need about 5 yards of that. You'll also need a 5mm or H hook, an 18-inch by 18-inch pillow insert, scissors, and a yarn needle. If you're following along with the graph, this is what it looks like. You can print it off from my website or the PDF pattern. Each square represents 1 single crochet stitch, and odd number rows are worked on the right side or the front, and even numbered rows are worked on the wrong side or the back side. I find it easiest to print off the graph, then you can mark your place with a pen as you go. So as you can see, we have our color changes to create all of our words and the heart. So we're just going to keep working in back and forth rows, changing colors to create our design. So I'll show you as we go along how we're going to make our color changes and how to keep them nice and neat. We're going to start by making our front panel using our color A yarn, and I'm going to begin by making a foundation single crochet row, which is essentially working your foundation chain and your first row of single crochets together at once. If you want though, you can just work a regular chain and then single crochet into it. If you want to do that, you can chain 64, single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then single crochet into each chain across for a total of 63 stitches. But here I'm going to show you how to make a foundation single crochet row. So I'm starting with a slip knot on my hook, chain 2, insert your hook into the second chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook. This is going to create our first foundation chain. So there at the bottom is our foundation chain. Feel free to mark that with a stitch marker because we're going to have to work back into that. So you need to remember where that is. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on our hook to create our single crochet. So there we created a foundation chain and a single crochet together. So now we're going to work that again. We're going to work back into that first foundation chain that we worked. Make sure you're going through 2 loops on the bottom there. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook to create our next foundation chain. Then yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook to create our single crochet. So there we've worked 2 foundation single crochet stitches, and we're just going to repeat that across for a total of 63. So again, insert your hook back into the last foundation chain we worked, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook to create our next foundation chain, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook to create the single crochet. So just continue that across for a total of 63 foundation single crochets. I'm just coming up to the end of row 1, my foundation single crochet row. I just want to point out that my nail polish is going to keep going back and forth between orange and nothing because I recorded this video through the span of like a week and took my nail polish off through that. So just ignore the fact that my nails keep changing. Anyways, I am done row 1. I have a total of 63 stitches. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're on to row 2. For row 2, we are just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch across, then chain 1 and turn at the end. And we're going to repeat that until the end of row 5. So to single crochet, insert your hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook. So for rows 2 all the way through 5, we're just working 1 single crochet into each stitch across. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn, and just keep repeating. And we're just going to stick with color A for now. So I'm going to carry on, and then I'll meet up with you at the end of row 5. So I finished row 5, chain 1 and turn, so now we're ready for row 6. This is where we're going to introduce our color B yarn. So if you're following along with the graph, since we are on an even number row, we are following it from left to right, and that means we are working on the wrong side of our panel right now. So have your color B yarn ready to go. We're going to start with color A and then start changing to color B. So in the top right corner, you can see the written instructions. So it's going to say A4, B2, A2, B2, and so on. So that means with color A, we're going to work 4 single crochets, then switch to color B and work 2 with color B, 2 with color A, 2 with color B, and so on. So we're going to start the row with 4 single crochets with color A, and on that 4th single crochet, that's where we're going to change colors. So we're going to start with 4 single crochets using color A, and then we'll switch to color B. So we're going to start that 4th single crochet as normal, but before we do that final pull through, this is where we're going to change colors. So we're going to drop our color A yarn. Since we are working on the wrong side of our panel right now, so the back side is facing us right now, so we want our loose ends on this side. So we're going to bring that forward so that that's going to be hiding on the back side. And then I'm going to pick up my color B yarn and pull through with my color B yarn so that the next stitch is going to be with color B. So you're always going to make your color changes on the last stitch of the current color, and then so that the next stitch is with the new color. So now I have 2 single crochets with color B. So I'm going to work that next one as normal, but then since the second one is the last one, we're going to change color again. So start your stitch as normal, drop that color and pick up color A. So I'm going to bring that forward so that it's on the wrong side, and then pick up my color A. So we're just going to keep our 2 colors attached, and we're going to drop and pick up as needed. We're not cutting and reattaching. If you want, you can do that. You're just going to have a lot of bobbins because we're doing so many color changes. So it's just easier, since this is a one-sided project, it doesn't matter what the back looks like. So it's okay that our yarn is floating behind it because you're not going to see it. So this is just an easier way to do it. Something to keep in mind though, make sure you're not pulling the yarn too tight because you're going to cinch the pillowcase. So just make sure that you're keeping your floats loose, and just drop and pick up as needed, and make sure when you're working on the wrong side, all your loose ends are on the side facing you. When you're working on the right side, you want all of the loose ends on the back. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth, changing colors, following either the written instructions or the graph. And I'm just on the last leg of the first M for mother. So I'm just going to finish this, and then I will show you the graph, and we can compare to see what our project is looking like versus the graph, so you can see. So this is what the back side looks like, the wrong side, and then when we flip it over, that's the right side, and those are the 3 legs of the M for mother. So you can see that it's lining up. So I like using the graph because it's just a visual that you can see that you're doing it correctly. So I'm just going to continue across for row 6, following the graph or the written instructions. Now I'm starting the O. So the O has 6 stitches across the bottom. So this is going to be a longer stretch for us to carry our yarn. So that's when it's most important that you're not pulling your floats too tight, because we're going to be stretching that color A yarn over the span of like 6 stitches. So that's kind of far to carry it. Usually when you're floating yarn, you only do a couple stitches. I'm just keeping mine attached for ease, but you have to be careful that you're not pulling that float too tight, or else that's going to cinch up that part of your pillow. So here you can see me pulling it across. Just be sure that you're keeping that nice and loose. So I like to use my thumb. I'm going to keep it in place so that I don't yank it too tight. I'm going to keep it with some slack, hold it with my thumb, and then pull it through. Just like that. So you can see that there's still, it's still a little bit loose. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the row, and then we'll work the next row together as well. I hope this is making sense. So yeah, let's just carry on, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the row, and we'll take a look at what our panel is looking like. So I'm just coming up to the end of row 6, chain 1. This is what it's looking like from the back side or the wrong side. You can see our yarn nicely floating across. Now I'm going to turn my work, and we can see it from the front. So there are our letters of mother starting to form. So our M, our O, our T, H, E, and R. So now we're working on the right side of our panel, the front of it, and we are on row 7. So if you're reading the graph, you're going to be reading it from right to left. So you might notice your yarn might be a little tangled right now from going back and forth. So just take this time right now to rearrange your yarn. You're probably going to want to do this after each row, because the more you do, the more tangled it's going to get. I just find it easier at the end of each row just to fix our yarn. So untangle your yarn, and then we'll jump into row 7. Okay, once you're ready to start row 7, now we're following the graph from right to left. So we're going to start with the end of the R and then move across. So it's just going to be like we did the row 6, just we're leaving our loose ends on the back now, on the wrong side. So I find it easier working on the right side because you're dropping and picking up behind you. I find it easier to grab the yarn. And also you can see the letters clearer, so it's a little bit easier to follow. So I'll go through the first few letters to show you how to change colors when working on the right side, and then we'll finish row 7 on our own. So for row 7, we're going to work 7 single crochets with color A. On that 7th single crochet, we're going to change color. So start it as normal, drop color A, pick up color B, and do our pull through with color B. Then work 2 single crochets with color B. And then on that second one, on that final pull through, we'll drop color B and pull through with color A. Just like so, and then we're just going to continue on with row 7, just picking up and dropping on the wrong side. And yeah, so I'll carry on and I'll catch up with you at the end of row 7. So I just finished the row 7, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn, but this is what our front panel is looking like so far. So I'm going to turn and untangle my yarn and reorganize it, and then we're on to row 8. So here I'm just going to let you finish on your own. So you can follow along with the written instructions or the graph. Both can be found for free on my website, theturtletrunk.com, or you can get the ad-free printable PDF from my Etsy shop or on Ravelry, and you can just continue following along with that, and then come back for the video. if you want to see how to make the back panel and how to assemble our pillow. I'll put timestamps down below from where I do all of those, so you can just skip ahead to that. And yeah, just carry on and I'll catch back up with you when we finish our front panel. So here I have finished my front panel. So it's hard to fit under my camera, but you can kind of see I have my heart there and then all of my words. So this is what the front side of your front panel should look like. So now I have to move on to my back panel. So I'm going to tie off my yarn here on my front panel. So I'm just going to leave a long enough tail that I can weave that in and pull it through. So there we have our front panel. So now we're going to move on to our back panel. I'll show you what the back of my front panel looks like. There you can see all of my yarn floating across. But when I do up my pillow, you're not going to be able to see any of that. So now we can move on to our back panel. So our back panel is just going to be worked with color A, and it's just going to be a square of A. Feel free to use any other color if you want. I'm going to be using color A. So just like we started our front panel, we are going to work a foundation single crochet row of 63, or you can work your foundation chain and then single crochet into each stitch. So just like we started our front panel, we're going to work a foundation single crochet row of 63. I just finished row 1, so I finished my foundation single crochet row. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And now on to row 2. And for rows 2 all the way through 63, we're just working 1 single crochet into each stitch across, chain 1 and turn. So we have no color changes on the back panel. We're just working with our color A or whatever color you choose to use, and just working a single crochet into each stitch across, chain 1, turn, and repeat until the end of row 63. So I'm going to carry on and I'll catch up with you when I reach the end of row 63. So I just reached the end of row 63 for my back panel, and this is what it's looking like. You might notice that the yarn on mine is a little bit discolored because I used different dye lots to finish mine off. I was just using scrap yarn that I had, so mine's a little different colored on the back, but since it's on the back, nobody's going to see it, so I don't mind. But now that we're done with the back panel, I'm going to cut off this yarn, and then we're going to assemble our pillow together. So I'm going to cut this yarn off, pull that through with my hook, and then I'm going to grab my front panel and my pillow insert. So I'm going to lay down my back panel with the wrong side facing up, the right side facing down, and then place my front panel on top of it with the right side facing up, wrong side facing down. So that when you look at the front, you can see the front panel nice and clear, and then on the back, it's going to be the right side of the back panel, so all the ends are going to be on the inside. So I'm going to reattach my color A yarn, or whatever color you want to make the border in, just in that top left-hand corner. So where I worked the last single crochet of that row, and then just in the corresponding stitch of the back panel as well. So we're going to be working through both the front panel and the back panel. We're going to work our border down the left side, across the bottom, and then up the right side, and then we'll insert our pillow insert. So I'm just going to attach my yarn, and then into that same stitch, I'm going to make a rounded corner. So I'm going to work 3 single crochets into that stitch, and then we're just going to single crochet into each row down the left side of our pillow. So work 1 single crochet into each row down the left side, making sure you're working through both the front and the back panel. So there I worked 3 single crochets to round that corner. And then we're going to work down the left side, working 1 single crochet into each row. And then when we get to that bottom corner, we're going to work another 3 single crochets to round that corner. 1 single crochet in each stitch across the bottom. 3 single crochets in the right bottom corner to round that corner. And then 1 single crochet up the right side, working 1 single crochet into each row. And then I'll catch back up with you there where we'll insert our pillow. So I just put my pillow insert inside, and now I'm just going to single crochet across the top. So a tip, if your pillow is too bulky, my pillow was a bit too bulky, so when I went to put my cover on, it was stretching it out a little bit too much. So I just cut open the side of the pillow, I left a little hole, and I took some of the stuffing out, and then I just quickly sewed it back up. So now my pillow is a little bit flatter. It's not as thick and bulky, so my pillow cover fits on it a bit better. So if your pillow is too bulky, if your pillow insert's too bulky, feel free to cut it open a little bit, take out some of the stuffing, and then just sew it back up and then put it in your pillow cover. So I'm just going to single crochet across the top. And you kind of have to push the pillow insert down and kind of squish it in there, and then once you're all done, you can kind of even it out again. But here I am at the end. So to finish up, I'm just going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet that we worked for our border, and then we can cut off our yarn, leaving a long enough tail that you can weave it in. And then I'm just going to weave that end in on the back side of my pillow. And then here we have our Mother's Day pillow. It's really hard to fit under my camera here, but I think you get the idea. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget you can find more free patterns on my website, theturtletrunk.com, or find PDF patterns in my Etsy shop or on Ravelry. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.